In music, you find all kinds of melodies built on arpeggios or other intervallic structures, which are very cool and we can deal with in another course. But the vast majority of melodic material in almost all styles of music is based on the linear execution of scales. So that makes linear improvisation the main foundational skill for any well-rounded player. In classical music education, everyone understands that linear melodies are made of, number one, steps. That's scales moving up and down. Number two, skips of a third. Basically, you just skip one step of the scale. And then number three, skips of larger intervals, skipping two or more steps. So the traditional melodic practice regime consists of playing scales organized in intervals, and then playing patterns that mix steps and skips. Now all of this is great, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, we will do some of that later. However, doing only these things is not the most effective approach for a modern improviser, because this approach is missing a few important pieces of the puzzle. The only reason that some select few succeed this way is that in their countless hours of practice they stumble on these extra elements, usually at the subconscious level, or they have a special talent, an intuition that leads them to add those extra elements. For the rest of us, it's hit and miss. Many guitar players lose hope to reach such a level of melodic freedom because their practice seems to have limited results. Now that's where effective education comes in. What we will be doing in this course is to demystify this so-called special talent by identifying these missing elements. You will discover that comfortable improvisation and the ability to construct melodic lines effortlessly is a teachable skill that anyone can get with a little work. This effective learning system becomes the equalizer so that everyone can do it. We will be unleashing your potential, and then what you do with it is up to you. You see, I can't guarantee to increase your creativity or improve your musical taste or your talent, but I can help you make the most of what you already have. Because, as is the case with almost every player, you definitely have more in you than what's coming out. So your practice assignment for lesson 2 is to go through the included linear freedom examples, play them slowly, and identify their components, which can be, number 1, scale fragments. Number 2, scalar direction changes. Now this is an extremely important key which will help us start treating these scales creatively later. The third element you'll find in there is the contrasting skip. Usually that's going to be the interval of a third, but it could be a larger interval as well. After you analyze them, play them a few times and get a general idea of how these components affect the sound. We'll be concentrating on training our ears later in the course, but actually ear training is already starting to happen right now. As your mind has a clear understanding of what you're playing, this gives your ears something to grasp on and retain the sounds of these melodic components. This kind of practice, where you're fully aware of what you're playing, goes deeper into your subconscious mind and promotes the development of intuition and musicality. That's not the case when you just repeat exercises mindlessly. Afterwards, do the same over the provided backing track and see how they sound in context. Now, all three phrases are fairly easy to play and they are based on the same exact scale fingering. You can find the diagram for it somewhere on this page. Also, use any picking technique you want for now, just whatever is more comfortable. Now, please understand that this course is not about learning licks. What we're doing right now is just study examples in order to internalize how linear melodies work. You don't have to memorize these lines, unless of course you really want to. I will analyze the first one in the next lesson, so if you have any trouble doing this, you can skip to lesson 3, go through it with me, and then try to analyze the rest by yourself. For some of you, this may seem basic and simplistic, but trust me, this kind of mental practice creates a foundation for total musical control down the line. Note that I made these lines rhythmically simple on purpose and without any embellishments, so that we can focus purely on melodic movement. So no slides, no bends, no tricks, just melody. Everything else you can easily add afterwards.